P랑 앉았을 때 아니 필요하시는 분 이건 나가
Okay, our next presenter is Kwang-sup Kim from Hankuk University of Foreign Studies. Sorry for forgetting Professor Kwang-sup Kim. And the title is on the projection of dislocated constituents. Please welcome him.
Should I stand up or why not?
Want to use this microphone?
Okay, good afternoon. Today I'm going to explore the possibility of projecting a dislocated constituent. Okay, this is the outline of this presentation. First, I'm going to point out two potential problems to the projection of dislocated constituents. The first one is theoretical problems, and the other one is empirical problems. And actually the main theoretical problem is that we start compared over so-called box theory. And so I'm going to discuss box theory briefly. And in an attempt to resolve the empirical problems, I'm going to provide a ready approach to standard probabilities. And then I'm going to extend the ready approach to adverbial probabilities, and then to transparent probabilities, and finally conclude that dislocated constituents can project the label. Okay, one of the novel ideas that has emerged since the advent of numerics is that the dislocated constituent can be labeled on the left side. And labeling can be reduced to minimal search. According to this analysis, one can project a label because this is the plot stem from alpha. So although what is dislocated, you can project a label. And that's why what I like is a DP. And this is quite attractive in many respects, but there are some problems. The first problem is that actually it seems to violate the set of criteria because what is assigned statutory from right, and what clause is already assigned another statutory from the outside. So this seems to be a violation of the set of criteria. And another problem is that compared with so-called box theory. Because according to box theory, one intelligent constituent is boxed, and the boxed constituent is accessible. Whatever we make, I call this intelligent constituent is not accessible in the derivation. The problem in 2A is that what cannot occur in this division in the derivation, so we cannot say that what projects a label in here. So we have to say that the label alpha must be determined by C. So this is a problem, and there's actually many other empirical problems. Okay, the first problem is that what money is branching, but we have to say that what can project a label because what I have is a DP, which means that I can project a label about what money is branching. So this is a problem, and actually 3D presents an opposite problem. It seems to be non-branching, but it fails to present a label. So we cannot say that alpha is a DP. So this is another problem. And adverbial frivolity clauses, transparent frivolity clauses are also problematic because I just showing in 4A how you dance. In here you can adverbial phrase, but in 4B I like how you dance. And here how you dance is a DP because they must function as a complement to the line. If how project a label and if how you adverbial phrase, then there's the way to explain this pattern. So this is not a problem. And 5A presents a similar problem, avoidance with self-sincerity and what I can only describe in values. What seems to assign key case from describe, which means that what the DP. But we have to say that the whole clause is at the time of phrase. So this is not a problem with the claim that a dislocated constituent can project a label. In spite of all these problems, I'm going to argue that projection of dislocated constituent is possible. I claim that the box theory can be replaced by theory from copy and leveling algorithm, which is compatible with the claim that dislocated constituent can project label. And I also argue that the grading approach can resolve the empirical problems mentioned above. Okay, let's briefly consider the box theory. According to box theory, an internally merged constituent is box if it occurs at faint edge. Right? It has some merits. First, it explains why an internally merged constituent cannot be assigned as actual. For example, in 6a, let's say that John goes internal model with this V complex. Then what I want to say is that John is assigned central from this V complex. Okay? The box theory, John is not visible, so we don't have to worry about this case. And another advantage is that we can make a distinction between a copy and repetition. So most people got foolish in here. There's a copy of most people in stack focus, and another copy of most people in stack T. What we do not want to say is that the copy of spec T is deleted on the identity with the copy in spec focus. So this is not what we want to add. According to box theory, in fact, most people in here is not visible, so we don't have to worry about the case. And we can also deal with partial leverage movement. In German, was loves to do when Maria gets treffen hat. Okay, when was movement to the embedded stack C, and that stops over there. And the matrix C is occupied by explicit W Freddy Vaz. So partial movement is possible. The problem with A, B is that, in fact, it has a leveling failure because Van is branching and C complex is also branching. So alpha cannot be labeled via minimal search. And because medicine has no W feature, leveling via feature sharing is not available either. So we have a problem with labeling. And some suggest that Van was not the most successful cyclic movement. In fact, in 10A, there is no constant Van in here, which means that alpha is CP. So we don't have to worry about the labeling problem. So chance to box theory can deal with this phenomenon. But there are some demerits of the box theory. First, it's unclear how to explain languages with definition agreement, such as Irish, Chamorro, and so on. In Irish, not only the matrix C, but also the medicine has a humorphin. Without because the successful sequence movement like this, how can you capture this phenomenon? I think there is a serious problem. And another problem is the reflexive verbs also pose a problem with the box theory. Let me skip this. And I think it's too strong to argue that internally merged constituents are invisible because the copy in the final position, in the correct position, must be pronounced. And it must be interpreted, at least the operator must be interpreted. Then it's more economical to argue that, well, this is visible in the course of derivation. At least the copy in the final landing site must be visible. So we don't have to repeat one time at PF or one time at LF because at both interfaces, the copy in the landing site must be interpreted. So let's come up with an alternative. I simply say that I want to say that two constituents can establish an absolute relation if there is a mismatch regarding the prevalence of the feature F. Okay, the copy of most people in stack focus has the feature focus, but the copy of most people in stack T has no focus feature. So these two copies cannot form a phone copy relation, so we don't have to worry about the case in which most copy here is deleted on the identity with the copy in stack focus. And we can deal with some A in a similar way. Okay, Johnny design virtual from light, similar. Okay, let's say that it's assigned index I, and let's say that Johnny design almost virtual J from this complex. then a conflict of values, because we just assign I and then simultaneously assign j. This is a confliction. Okay, but what about the reflective verb construction? In reflective verb construction, I assign index I, and then if this is a reflexive, this is verbal complex assigns index I, the same index I. So there is no conflict between copy John and the assigned index. So in this case, it's possible for John to undergo internal merge and then assign one more set of. So this is how reflexive verb construction is generated. Okay, I propose that correct generation of that intermediate copies are feasible. But the final copy in the landing site, the copy in the final landing site is feasible. Intermediate copies cannot be labeled, and unlabeled constituents are not feasible. So the copy of the voice in here is feasible because there is a label in here. So labeling the feature sharing possible in 20, that's why the voice is feasible. But in 21B, in fact, this copy is not feasible because alpha cannot be labeled via feature sharing, alpha cannot be labeled via minimality. So we just pretend that who is not there. Who must, anyway, must be dislocated. So in this case, who is not visible in the course of derivation. That's why who cannot block the Warner contraction. So in 21, although who starts by in here, it cannot block the contraction, Warner contraction. It's because who cannot label at all in the course of derivation. Okay, let's turn to parametric variations. In English, I assume that there is no feature sharing between what and the embedded C. But in WH languages like Irish, feature sharing between embedded C and W phrase must take place. So there is a feature sharing between full and this C. And I propose that in partial WH movement languages like German, optional feature sharing is permitted. Okay, once again, 23 partial WH movement. Then moves from here to here and starts here. And this position, the spag is occupied by executive one. And this can be explained as follows. In German, C may optionally have uninterpretable W feature. So when what on this movement to here, labeling via feature sharing possible. So XP level is W phrase. So only if the scope of bank can be extended to their vast time agreement relation, well-formed sentence can be generated. So the point is that a theory form copy and the labeling algorithm can deal with the phenomena that motivate the Bach theory. And if this is the case, we can conclude that the incompatibility of the Bach theory with the claim that dislocated constituent can project label is not a serious problem. Okay, now let's turn to the empirical problem of the projecting dislocated constituent. Okay, let's go to 25. In 25, one assigned case from the embedded T, and like assigns one more case to the what clause, which means that what is assigned in two cases. I think this is a problem. In fact, I just said before 26A is also problematic because what looks is branching, but we have to say that what project a label. And I like it when they're all problematic because it seems to be not branching, but they fail to, it fails to project a label. I propose that all these empirical problems can be resolved if we make this rating analysis. According to Bart and many others, relative clauses are generated on basis of rating. For example, according to Bart, which tags groups this complement, and which groups undergoes relativization, and groups undergoes rating, and books is attached by joined by CP, and the resulting AMP is merged with the. This is how relative clauses are generated. I basically assume that this is on the right track, and then try to extend this approach to relative clauses. Okay, I propose that what can take nullity as its complement, and what nullity undergoes relativization, and D is extracted out of one phrase, and then project a label in the landing side. Now this is how DP is generated. So the reason that what you like can be DP is that what takes nullity as its complement. Now we can explain all the empirical problems. Okay, I said that in 32 we have a problem because if we want to project a label in the landing site, then write aside two cases. We don't have this problem in here because what is assigned in the case from right and D project a label. So the DP assigned another case from the outside. So there is no case conflict and there is no violation of the criterion because what is assigned the self from right and D projection is assigned to one more self another self. So this is not a violation of the self criterion. So all the problems are resolved. And we don't have to worry about the branching constituent because money can take nullity as complement, and it is nullity the projector label that what money. So even though what money is branching, we can say that the whole projection is easy because the projector label. And I assume that nullity is good to pronounce. I can project a label because they are all branching. Okay, so far we have considered a standard, so-called standard for relative clauses, and now let's turn to adverbial for relative clauses. Adverbial relative clauses present some critical problem to the claim that projection of dislocated are constituent. For example, in solution A, I want to test how it ends. Here, adverbial phrase. This is an adverb phrase, so no problem at all because how is an adverb? And how to label it here, then it's not surprising at all that this is an adverbial phrase. The problem is that in 37b, how it ends to DP. If how is an adverbial phrase and project label in here, then there's no reason that this can be a DP. So this is a problem, and where phrases and when phrases show the same problem. When phrases can be either adverbial phrase or DP, and where phrase can be either adverbial phrase or DP. So this is a problem. And study A shows that when, where, and how are adverbial phrases. Despite this, require DP complement. But where, when, and how cannot be DPs. That's why study A is not helpful. So we have to admit that where, when, and how are adverbial phrases. Okay, to recapitulate, there are two possible constructions generated by how, where, and when. Triviality words adverbs, and triviality clauses also behave like adverbial phrases. Triviality words are adverbs, but triviality clauses behave like DPs. And there are no cases in which triviality words are Ds. I claim that these located constituents can project their label, so I still maintain this claim. And I also claim that the grammatical for the city follows where, when, and how adverbs. And the pattern for A and B follow if that were for the triviality words optionally take another complement. So actually, basically, I'm going to argue that what and adverbial triviality clauses how, where, and when are quite similar in that all of them can take nullity as their complement. Okay, let's first consider the case in which the when phrase is an adverbial phrase. Okay, if when undergoes movement and puts the label, then adverbial phrase is generated. So we can provide a straightforward account for why the when phrase can be an adverbial phrase. The problem is how come in 42 and 43 and 44 when and where and how phrases can be DPs. So directed is transitive verb. So when they have go must be a DP and otherwise it also transitive verb. Where phrase must be DP, like a transitive verb, and how it has must be DP. So this is a problem. Okay, let's first consider 45, the time when they have to go. In here, the antecedent when is the time, and we can provide analysis quite similar to the relative clause formation. So I can say that when can take time at this complement and undergoes relativization, and time we expect out when phrase and NP is generated, and if this NP is modeled with DP is generated. And then I propose that, in fact, when can take nullity at this complement. So when complex undergoes relativization and D undergoes movement and presents a label, then DP is generated. The point is that when can take nullity at this complement. In the case, DP is generated, and if when takes no complement at all, then when presents a label in the left side, so that the phrase is generated. And when can take time and this complement. So basically, as will relative proof forms and what are not that different. They're almost the same. Okay, so let's finally consider transparent fidelity clauses. Okay, 58 are typical examples of transparent fidelity clauses. What John calls pebbles are lying on the lawn. This is a typical example of transparent fidelity clauses. And transparent fidelities are named as such because grammatical operations such as agreement occur as if what John clause were not here. So pebbles determines the form of coupler, a banjo determines the form of is. So we just pretend that what John clause is not here. In fact, pebbles and banjo are called clonal phrases, and they determine number, grammatical category, definiteness, and so on. The sentence 51. A voice was soft and silky and what I can only describe with banjos. In here, the clonal phrase is dangerous. This determines the grammatical category of full transparent fidelity clause. So this is an adjective phrase. We have the same story in 51b. What you might call privately here, privately is the clonal phrase, and this clonal phrase determines the grammatical category of what you might call privately. This clause. He felt my mother was blah 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 blah. This is VT because pointing in my mind, this is a VT, so this determines the grammatical category of this clause. 52a, there is what you might call a banjo on the desk. In here, a banjo is indefinite, which means that what clause is also indefinite. That's why 52a is well formed. And 52, that's what you might call is banjo on the desk. In here, the banjo is definite. So what clause is also definite? 52 is not good because of definite is condition. 53 can be explained this same fashion. She invited what I took to the policeman to say overnight. In here, a policeman has the feature plus human, which means that what clause has the feature plus human. So it's compatible with the verb invite because invite one is complement to have a feature plus human. On that hand, 53b is not good because a baton and a gun has the feature minus human. So what clause must have the feature minus human, and minus human is not compatible with invite. That's why 53b is not well formed. Okay, to sum up, the transparent fidelity with the variable which is grammatical category number, semantic features, depending on the clonal phrase. Okay, I propose that what consists of WH and app, and that consists of WH and app. In both words, denote singular inanimate entity. That's why what and that denote singular inanimate entities. However, I argue that transparent relative pronoun is first generated as WH. So it is generated WH because movement, and if C moves to this WH morpheme, then the resulting word is pronounced as Y. Okay, more precisely, I propose that null detects this WH morpheme as this complement. And this WH morpheme undergoes movement and produces a label. And before it undergoes WH movement, it establishes an agreed relation with the tuples. In other words, WH morpheme inherits all the features of tuples. And then project later in the landing site. That's why the features of DP are identical to those tuples. So now we can account for why transparent and relative sub-transparent. They are transparent because, in fact, WH inherits all the features of tuples and project later in here. That's why the whole clause share the same features with tuples. And there's no conflict on case assignment because they just assign case from poles and WH morpheme, they assign another case, so there's no problem. Okay, and it is also very straightforward why the restriction of what does not necessarily denote singular non-inanimate entity. It's because the morpheme WH has no restriction at all. And when it combines with C, it becomes a one. Okay, let's finally consider binding and extraction. Here's the point in what I took to himself the white arms. Himself can take here this distance, even though he is outside this clause. This is quite strange. This is in sharp contrast with standard reality clauses. We could sense what a feeling you could only describe each other. So in here, each other cannot be bound by we. This means that standard for relative clause forms a binding domain, but transparent for relative clause but in a form of binding domain. The question is why? I propose that C moves to WH, and if C moves to WH, then fade sliding takes place. So this CP is not a fade any longer if C moves to here. And notice that in here, it is WH that produces a label. So it is a DP, not CP, and in this case, so-called fade hiding takes place. Even though C is the head of fade, this is not a fade in here, and if C moves in here and it cannot project a label, then the whole construction cannot be fade. So TP is not a fade, CP is not a fade, and DP is not a fade. That's why himself can take a distance outside of this clause. Okay, let's finally consider extraction out of transparent relative obvious. 66A, assume that many embodied relax. But this is a violation of CMP's complex down-thread complex approach. Relax consists of D plus CP. However, 67 is well formed. Who this should buy sings the nice portrait of this well formed. We have the same story. C moves to here, so CP is not fade, and this DP is not fade if this is not definite. That's why who can be extracted out of this clause. Okay, let me briefly wrap on my talk. The standard for relative now, what is distinct from the other DPs? Well, you can take a complement that specifies the content of what. In fact, I also propose that the adverb for relative nouns have the same property in that they can take null this complement. And I also propose that transparent relative noun is the unbound morpheme WH. And this class, along with the topic to not ceiling, I have just maintained that dislocated constituents can project later beyond the mirror.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Exactly, we have 10 minutes for the discussion, so, okay, please.
Okay, thank you for the talk. It's very interesting, a lot of empirical issues. Here, I think the main claim is that a moving element can project. Right, yeah. I think if you look at this claim, independent looks like very powerful. So like what are you eating? You know, there's a sentence, you know, you will predict it is a nominal, right? Because it will move what can project, one is EP and then the whole thing is EP. So, because you talk about the free relatives and transparent free relatives, I think I have an alternative approach. We can compare which one is more reliable. So, because I presented the paper in June in Canada. The whole paper can be found in my homepage. My idea is that for those constructions, actually we have a pipe piping. So pipe piping so far is for movement, right? When you want to move which place you move in which place, and then when you move the whole PP, actually LF, what you target is just that WH word. So your piping is a variable operation in internal merge. You move the piping. The question, theoretical question, why can this be done also in external merge? That means that we do it in a normal combination. So free relatives usually occur, I think it occurs in argument position, either subject or object. And then they occur in a nominal position. That's why you claim that the moving element projects the DP. Instead of that approach, my alternate approach that you target the DP in that clause. However, when you merge this whole complex, you merge the containing clause. So the whole free relatives clause actually still CP. You just pipe with the targeted DP, and then everything follows. So that's an alternative approach to this. So in my approach, then you don't have to assume that a moving element can project. Yeah, still you always the host of the moving element project consistently. I think that's in Chomsky 1994. He explicitly moving elements do not project. However, your approach, violated the rule also. I know that by Donati and another.
Chomsky actually proposed that dislocated constant can be
only for free relatives.
In 13 and 15 papers. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this, I make it available. We can compare. Which one's better? That's my
Thank you very much. I wonder. Your approach can deal with the extractability of transparent free relative clauses, and I wonder whether your approach can deal with the ambiguity and the free relative clauses. So they're all empirical problems. So when you decide between the two approaches, which is better, considering those empirical data. So I don't think there is theoretical problems in here because I try to resolve all those theoretical problems because on the basis of random approach. So I removed all the problems. The main question is whether which theory is empirically superior. I think we decide on that. Thank you very much. Okay, let me write down your paper. Name of paper.
Thank you. Any other questions and comments?
Two clarifications. When you look at the season 4, himself, okay, this is a definite one. However, at one point, the transparent free relative clauses are sensitive to the definite one, indefinite, and the one need to be indefinite, right?
Yeah, right.
But the himself, so that the restriction is like it needs to be the predicate. It needs to be the predicate of a copula. I think that's the restriction.
Well, they share features, but they're not identical. Consider the negation. If there is a narrative.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
The restriction is okay.
Okay,
It's about,
okay, this is not, let's say that this is not positive or negative sentence. Then the whole clause and himself are different entities. So they share features, but they are identical. They share features, grammatical features, but they are not identical.
So the restriction is on the.
Your point is that himself is definite, but I have to say that the phrase is not definite. But I don't think that they are two same entities. They share features.
Another one. Actually, that was a good, bad example, but like each other's son. Yeah, that is also like
Yeah, same point.
Especially why free relative clauses always involves the thing, okay, like himself or why it needs to be the copula, okay, in the context of a copula structure, free relative clauses are allowed. Do you have any reason for?
Well, it's not the case. I mean, it can occur in the tradition. Reality clauses can occur in the.
At one point, like certain examples like what was something like that. I'm not sure that was at the type or we go back to the on grammatical examples. I remember the 53, like that. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Like what was carrying.
I understand your point. Well, common phrases must form a real relation with, WH morpheme must form a real relation with the common phrase. And if there is no common phrase, the relation between them is not, cannot be easily made.
Why that kind of restriction is imposed? Yeah, that's my name.
Yeah. So common phrases and the WH morpheme must form kind of predication relation. So they must form kind of predication relation, but that is a restriction.
So that unlike a general free relative, transparent free relatives clause are somewhat different from its structure. That's why I'm wondering about.
Definitely they're quite different. I propose that in the standard for reality clause, what consists of WH and plus is restriction F, which denotes singular, indefinite, inanimate thing. But in this case, there is no restriction for the WH morpheme. It has just operator. And so it is a variable in the sense, and all the grammatical features that WH morpheme are dependent on the common phrase. That's why they are transparent, because actually they are born with no features fixed, but after they form some relation with the common phrase, and they are going to have the features, and then they project a label in the landing site. That's why they share the same features.
And one more clarification about is there any evidence for, like you assume, you actually suggest like a what and the determinant, like that, right? At some point, determinant actually follows from after what? Yeah, at certain point of your analysis.
Which example?
I'm sorry, I can.
What is that?
Yeah.
You mean what is that?
Yeah. So the determinant actually moves after what, something like that. No?
Determinant moves what?
Actually, determinant moves after what? I cannot remember the example. I will draw later.